Today we are going to be counting down my top favorite Batman gadgets. Before this video gets started, I wanted to talk about two things, and that is that nobody is going to agree with this list exactly, so let me know what your list is down in the comment section below. And the Batman gadgets are what makes Batman Batman. You know, without his gadgets and without his, money and wealth and everything to buy these gadgets, he would just be a really good fighter. But even to think about, he had to have a lot of money to be able to go away and train and to learn how to fight like that. So without his money and without his gadgets, it was really hard for him to become Batman, and that is why I really love the Batman gadgets. It's because, it's like what makes Batman who he is. Starting the list off at number 5, we have the Bat Rebreathing. Now this thing is very cool. Now given that the Earth's covered in 70% water and Batman has to be able to, adjust to any situation, this thing comes in handy, I would guess, a lot, especially when helping out Aquaman and stuff like that. This thing takes the carbon dioxide that Batman breathes out. This is how I think it works, and I've read other people say this is how it works, but it takes the carbon dioxide that he breathes out and then it filters it back into clean air for him to breathe. So it's basically an infinite source of air in any sort of water type scenario. I don't really associate bats with water, but since this is Batman that we're talking about, and I said earlier he has to be able to adapt to any situation because that is what he's famous for. So that is why it's number 5 on my list, because it's so out there, and it's something that nobody else would think that they would need, but he knows he might need it, and then when he needs it, he's prepared for that situation, and then it shows everybody up because he's smarter than everybody. Alright, now moving on to number 4 is the cape. The cape is what you associate Batman with. You see Batman and you see the cape in your brain. The cape helps him in so many different ways, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. But lurking in the shadows and hiding on the rooftops, when he brings it around his whole body, it's able to, disguise him and make him look, more like a presence more than a person. So that is why it's really cool, because it kind of fits Batman's style of him lurking in the darkness. There have been many different types of Batman capes in the comics and video games and the movies and everything, but my favorite cape of all time is the one from the Arkham games, and that is because it is built by Wayne Tech, and it has it's bulletproof, and if you hit X 3 times on the Xbox, I don't know what it is for PS4 or PlayStation, but if you hit X 3 times, it stuns your enemies, and they're disoriented, and then you can hit them, and then you can knock out the whole enemy's team. But that is why I really like it. I like the variety of it, and it's bulletproof, because in some variations you see after he gets in a big battle, it's kind of torn, and it's something that he just throws away, and he has a cabinet full of capes. But this one is specially made, and it has all kinds of Wayne Tech in it. So that's why I really like the Arkham games one. And the cape helps him glide around the city and make him look more like a bat, which is the most important part of being Batman, is looking like a bat. Because if you want to be Batman, you gotta look the part. 3 on this list is the most iconic gadget of all time, and that is the Batarang. This thing has been through so much, it's seen so much, but there's been so many different kinds that I thought was really cool, and I thought I'd put it as number 3 on the list, because there's been a heated one where you throw it and it just heats up and explodes, and there's been one that's a remote control run, so he has a little thing on his gauntlet, this is in Arkham Knight games too and everything, all the Arkham games. And you can throw it, then you can remote control it, and then you could just have the basic metal one that just sticks into bad guys and instantly hurts them. So I really like the Batarang for all situations. It's right on his belt. It's he can pull it out faster than any old western guy can pull out a gun from his holster. It kind of reminds me of that, because he just kind of pulls it up from his belt and just throws it with precision, really good precision. So I really like the Batarang, and that is why it's number 3 on the list. Now number 2 on the list is very something that you would not really think about when making this list, and that is the smoke pellets. These things fit Batman's MO so well. They just, they are used to stun his enemies, and they're used to come out of the shadows, because in any situations, especially with guns, when he's surrounded, you throw down a smoke pellet and he grapples away, and then he has the advantage, and he has thermal thing on his cowl in most scenarios, in most comics. He has a thermal thing, he just hits it, and he can see thermally now. So basically it's not smoke is even there for him. It's just distorting the enemies, and I'm pretty sure it's some sort of coughing agent is in it too, so it's not just smoke, it's kind of a coughing gas too, a way toned down version of the Joker's gas. they're just like in one of his little pockets right here that, you know, he's surrounded by people with guns. Like imagine that scenario where he's just surrounded and there's no really hope for him unless he can get away, but he can't get away because there's like 50 guys around him with the guns. Look at this, just like instant smoke throw down. Before they even knew what happened, he's on a gargoyle above the whole building and he's surveying the whole thing with his thermal, and he's planning on taking everybody out. So that is really cool. And like, you know, with a lot of these gadgets, he has to be able to reach them really fast for like intense situations like I'm talking about now, where there's a bunch of guys and he has to take them down with ease in a fast, you know, amount of time. So like having that utility belt is really cool. That was going to be one of my gadgets, but I was like, nah, that's kind of what he keeps his gadgets in. I don't think it's really a gadget. So that's kind of like an honorable mention. It's his belt because it like houses everything. He can reach into it really fast and it's really cool and it's yellow. So yeah, that's an honorable mention, I guess you could say. Okay, now the number one, you gotta give me a second to explain it here because the number one is not what people really think. People would think, oh, the Batmobile, oh, the Bat Computer. Two honorable mentions, by the way. But the Cowl protective system. Now this thing you've seen like very little of. Okay, the tripod just fell over and I think that the camera's messed up now. But just deal with it because this is number one. So the Cowl protector, you've only seen it a couple of times. You have seen it in like the Dark Knight. That's like the main place that you've seen it is right when he swerves out of the way on his bat pod and misses the Joker, and then he falls over and he gets knocked out, and the guy thug comes up to him and he tries to take off his cowl and it shocks him, and then the Joker, you know, makes fun of the guy that's shaky on the ground because he just got tased. But this thing is like really cool because like this thing protects more than just to Bruce Wayne, you know, that, you know, he's Batman. This thing protects Batman's legacy because criminals, you know, it only works. Batman only works because criminals fear him and they see him as a monster. They see him as some sort of demon. And if they realize that it's just Bruce Wayne, a billionaire, you know, like playboy, they won't like not be that afraid of him anymore. Then like they'll just see him as a man in a bat suit. And what they would do, you know, would be like they would probably just get more comfortable around Batman. They might do things that they wouldn't do if they didn't know he was just a regular guy, you know. They would just see him and then they would just, you know, like, no, it's a guy, and they would be more, you know, more brave, I guess, going up to fight him. They would shoot him and they would have more, you know, like strategic plans because they know that he's just a man now. So this thing, even though it's only used slightly and like not even often, because the only reason that it would be used if Batman is knocked out, which never happens unless, you know, he swerves out of the way and hits a car and he falls off his bat pod. That's like really the only way that it happens. But this thing, for those slight chances of those situations, this thing protects so much more than just the Bruce Wayne identity. Like I said, it protects what criminals fear and what keeps Gotham safe. That is going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you guys enjoy. Tell me your list in the comment section. And that's pretty much it. I wanted to keep doing more videos like this, so I just thought about putting out this video because, you know, I wanted to talk about Batman and I wanted to make a video, so I thought this would be a really cool thing to talk about. So that's pretty much it. Tell me what other videos you want to see me do in the comment section along with your list, and I will see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.